In SSR applications such as Next.js, sometimes we may need a dynamic component. Let's assume that we have a static post page, and inside this page we have a dynamic component called reactions. In this component, users can like or dislike the post. To make this happen, we need to create a stateful component, and we need to initialize this state with the value that we get from server, right? When we are creating this functionality with regular useState hook, we are creating prop_drill because we need to pass our state and the setter function into our child components. As we create more components, we add more complexity into our application. I'm going to show you how we can do that, how we can avoid the prop_drill with Jotai's useHydrateAtoms. Okay, first things first, let's check what we have got so far. This is a server component of Next.js 13, and in this component we are fetching data from our server and then pass this data into post component as prop, like this. And in this post component we have a state which is created by useState, and we pass this post data as an initial state, right? And in this post component we have post reactions component where users can like or dislike the post, and when user click the like button, we also update the total likes number in post header component. That's why we had to create our useState on top level, because we need to manage our state globally, right? So in this post header component we have data for the post header as well as our state in post info component. And in this component we have another two components called post author and post likes, and in these components we show our total likes data like this. Also in post reactions component we have reaction button component which gets setter and the number as prop, and in this reaction button component we have handle reaction callback function, and when user click these buttons we mutate our state, our global state. As you can see, we are passing our state and setter function into our child components, and we have too much child components inside every component. That's why in here we are creating a prop_drill. We need to avoid this prop_drilling, and I'm gonna show you how we can do that with Jotai's useHydrateAtom. Okay, let's check that. How can we use these useHydrateAtoms in our application? First, let's go to Jotai useHydrateAtoms in the Jotai's documentation. As you can see, we can import these useHydrateAtoms from Jotai utils, and we will create an atom, just regular atom, and we will pass our initial value into this regular atom with useHydrateAtoms hook. But to make this happen, we will first need to install this package yarn add Jotai utils, like this. Okay, cool. Now we have installed this package. To use this hook, first we need to create our base atom. In our atoms folder, we can create postatoms.ts file, and in this file we can create export const postatom like this, and we need to import this atom. Cool. And we can get our dummy state to make this compatible with TypeScript, and I will also pass our type into here, post I, like this. Okay, cool. This initial state is just for make this state compatible with TypeScript. We can just use dummy data here because we are not going to use this initial value in our application. Okay, cool. Now we can use this atom and hydrate with our initial value like this. First, let's import our postatom from our atoms file, and we can use useHydrateAtoms like this. The first argument will be the postatom, and the second argument will be the initial state that we get from our server. But we need to put this in an array like this, and we need to make this as const to make it compatible with TypeScript. Okay, cool. Now we can use this postatom in our application instead of this useState hook. We can change this with useAtom, and we can use postatom like this. Okay, cool. So let's check if it works. Yeah, it works. But now we need to get rid of these props because we are using this useHydrateAtoms and the Jotai library to avoid prop drilling, right? So let me show you how we can avoid the prop drilling. Let's start with our first component, post header component. Now we don't need to pass this state into our component because we will read our data, our global state, from the component itself like this. Const post equals useAtom value, and in this hook we will pass our postatom data like this. Okay, but as you can see in our data, we have header section which contains title, description, and image, and in our post header we will need those keys, right? Title, description, and image. So we need to get header from this, and we can use this header like this. And also we can get rid of this state, right? We can use our atom inside of this component as well, and we don't need this anymore, right? Cool. And in post info component we can get, actually we don't need to get anything here, but in our post author component, we can get post author like this. Author equals useAtom value and post atom, and we can remove this. Okay, cool. And we don't need this anymore as well, and we can remove this too. And in post likes component, we can get const reactions useAtom value like this, and we need to import this hook from Jotai and reactions dot likes. Also, we can remove this anymore. Okay, cool. Let's check if it works. Yeah, it works. Now we can close these tabs because we don't need them anymore. We can go to our post body before post reactions because it's more complicated than post body. In post body, we only need the body data, right? This is the post body. Now we can remove this and in our component we can get const body useAtom value, and we will pass our post atom, and we need to import this hook as well, and we need to get rid of this prop. Okay, cool. Let's check if it works. Yeah, it works. Okay, cool. The last props that we need to get rid of are these props, right? We can remove these props and go to our post reactions component, and we can remove these props and the interface as well. And in this reaction button component, we don't need these props anymore, right? Because we will get this state inside the component, the reaction button component. Okay, we can go to reaction button component and we can get rid of these props as well. Okay, cool. Now we will get const state and setter like this, useAtom post atom. Now we use useAtom instead of useAtom value because we need setter function in this component, right? Yeah. And we can change this number with state dot reactions dot likes like this, and state dot reactions dot dislikes. Yeah, like this. As you can see, it works as expected, right? Cool. If we go back to our post component, as you can see, we don't need this useAtom hook anymore. And as you can see, we don't pass any prop into our components. Okay, cool. Now the last thing that we need to do is wrapping our application with Jotai's provider. To make this happen, we will create a folder called providers, and inside this folder we will create Jotai provider.tsx file, and in this file Jotai provider, yeah, like this, in this file we will import provider from Jotai, and we will use this provider in our component, and we will wrap our children with this provider, and we need to get this children from props, like this. Yeah, cool. And also we need to make this a client component, right? Because we are using Next.js 13 and app directory. Okay, cool. Now we can wrap our application with this Jotai provider. Okay, let's check if it works. Yeah, it works. Normally with Jotai we don't have to use provider. We can use Jotai without provider in React, but in SSR applications like Next.js we must use provider to avoid undesirable consequences, because in SSR applications, if we don't use provider, Jotai use global memory, and this global memory can be shared across sessions, and this can cause some problems in our states. That's why if we are using Jotai with Next.js, especially if we use useHydrateAtoms in our application, we must use provider. We must wrap our application with Jotai provider. Okay, cool. We are done, but there is a final thing that I want to show you before finishing this video. If we check this, if we check this application with React DevTools, when we click our buttons, as you can see, we are rendering all components again and again, right? And this creates unnecessary renders in our applications because we are changing, we are mutating the specific part of data, the reactions part, but we are rendering all components again and again. We can fix this with Jotai, and I'm going to show you how we can fix this with Jotai's utilities such as focusAtom and selectAtom. Let's go check the Jotai's documentation to understand how we can optimize our re-renders. In Jotai's documentation, you can find receipts section. In this receipt section, there is a page called large objects, and in this page you can see focusAtom and selectAtom. focusAtom simply creates new atom based on the focus that you pass to it, which means that we can focus on the specific part of our large state object like this. For example, in here we have initial data, and in this initial data we have people array, right? We can focus on this people array as well as this frames array or info object with focusAtom. The focusAtom creates writable atom, which means that we can use this focusAtom to get state as well as set state. But with selectAtom, we focus only the state part. I mean, if we don't want to mutate our data, if we only need the state, we can use selectAtom to focus the specific part of the large state object. Okay, cool. Let me show you how we can do that in our application. Let's start with the body component first, because it's a very basic component and it's read-only, right? Okay, we can close these tabs, and yeah, we are in post body component. And in this component, we will not use this postAtom in our useAtom value hook anymore. We will use our selectAtom like this. Const selectAtom equals selectAtom, and we will import this from Jotai utils, and we will pass our postAtom as a first argument, and we will pass a second argument to focus on specific part of this large state object. State, and get me state.body like this. Yeah. And we can use this selectAtom, and we can get body in here like this. Let's check if it works. Yeah, it works. Now we can go to our post header component, and for this header part we can use the same method like this. Const selectAtom equals selectAtom, and we need to import this, and postAtom state and state.header like this, and we will use our selectAtom anymore. Cool. Yeah, it works. And in our post info we have post author, and we can use this method as well, like this. We can import yep, cool. Now we will check our post likes component, right? In this component we are getting the total number of likes. Again, we will use the same method here, reactions dot likes like this. Yeah, because we don't need dislike, and we can total likes use like this. Okay, cool. Let's check if it works. Yeah, it works. Cool. The last thing that we need to do is using this method in our post reactions component. But in this component we need to make this atom writable, right? We cannot use a read-only atom in these components because we are mutating our state. So let's check this component first. In this component, we use our post-atom and we use useAtom hook to get state and the setter function. First, we can create our focusAtom in this component like this, const focusAtom, and focusAtom post-atom, it's same with selectAtom, but in this callback function we will use optics instead of state, and we will use optic.prop to get reactions like this. You can think this optic as a state object actually, but to get its keys we need to use this prop function. Okay, cool. Now we will use this focusAtom instead of our post-atom. As you can see, there are some TypeScript errors because at the moment we don't have the other parts of the state anymore. We only have this part. That's why we need to change our setter function, because we only focused the reactions part of the state, right? And our setter function can only set this part of the state. Okay, cool. Let's copy this and get rid of this unnecessary object. And in this object, we can use prev.likes like this. And we can do the same for this part. Cool. And also we need to get rid of these reactions keys, and because as you can see we only have in our state likes and dislikes like this. Okay, cool. Now we can check our re-render issue with React DevTools again. As you can see, we don't re-render the whole application anymore. We only re-render the dynamic parts, right? We are updating this like number, and we need to re-render this part because this is a dynamic data, right? Also, when we update the dislike, you can see we don't re-render this part because this data is based on the like number, right? Not the dislike number. But I think we can optimize it further. As you can see, when we click this button, we also re-render this part. Let me show you how we can do that. Okay, instead of focusing reactions, we can focus on like or dislike, right? Because in our reaction button, we only set like or dislike, and we can get this from our type prop. To make this happen, first we need to get this into our component, and then we can use another prop function and pass our type into this function like this. But we need to change this with likes or dislikes like that, and also we need to change it here as well. cool. Okay, but now there's a problem. We are creating our focusAtom in every render. That's why we need to wrap this into use memo hook like this. And we will return our focusAtom and oops, it's gonna be use memo, and we will import it from React. Okay, cool. Now we can get rid of this if else check because we already checked this in our focusAtom, right? We already focusing on the like or dislike. So now we can just write settEtom like this because now our state is number, like number or dislike number. Okay, cool. So we need to change this. At the moment, we can just pass state like this. Okay, cool. Let me refresh the page and check if it works. Yeah, it works. And let's check with React DevTools. As you can see, it only renders this part. Okay guys, thank you for watching this video, and if you like it, please subscribe my channel and don't forget to hit the like button.